This is Tony T here from TonySpeaks.com with our free college football pick show here. This will be Week 8 Part 2. We'll have 9 games from the Saturday card. Before we get into just a couple things, looking for my best bets, my premium plays, click the link in the description. That'll take you to my page at TonySpeaks.com. And for more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. All right, let's get it underway here, guys. We start here with Nebraska and Indiana. Nebraska now 5-1 after a 14-7 home win to Rutgers. The Cornhuskers gained 261 yards, 97 rushing for 2.3 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 264 yards to the Scarlet Knights, 78 rushing for 2.4 yards a carry. Dylan Raiola, 13-27 passing for 134 yards with a pick. Indiana sits at 6-0, a 41-24 road win at Northwestern. The Hoosiers put up 529 yards, 149 rushing for 4.3 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 336 yards to the Wildcats, 243 passing yards on 38 attempts. Curtis Rourke here, 25-33 passing for 380 yards with 3 touchdowns. Nebraska rushes for 3.9 yards a carry and is getting efficient work at the quarterback position with 8.1 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they hold opponents to 2.7 yards per rush, 6 yards per pass attempt. Indiana, very good offensive team, 5.1 yards per rush, 72% completions for 11 yards per pass attempt. Their defensive numbers shine by allowing 3 yards per rush, 5.7 yards per pass attempt, all wins by double digits for the Hoosiers. The loss for Nebraska came at home to Illinois by 7. Their only road game came at a rock-bottom Purdue team. Play here will be on Indiana at minus the 6.5. All right, next up here, South Carolina and Oklahoma. College football pick Saturday. South Carolina sits at 3-3 after their 27-25 road defeat at Alabama. The Gamecocks put up 374 yards, 132 rushing for 3.4 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 313 yards to the Crimson Tide, 104 rushing for 2.7 yards a carry. Lenore's Sellers, 23-31 passing for 238 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. Oklahoma fell to 4-2, a 34-3 defeat to Texas. The Sooners gained 237 yards, 89 rushing for 2.3 yards a carry. On defense, they surrendered 406 yards to the Longhorns, 177 rushing for 5.9 yards a carry. Michael Hawkins, 19-30 passing for 148 yards. South Carolina runs for 4 yards a carry and averages 7.4 yards per pass attempt. They defend the run and limit foes to 56% completion rate. Oklahoma sputters on offense, 3.4 yards per rush, 5.8 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, they give up 3.1 yards a carry, but 7.8 yards per pass attempt. The Sooners' losses came against playoff quality teams in Texas, Tennessee. The same can be said for South Carolina, but back-to-back road spot here for the Gamecocks. After playing at Alabama, they've lost 3 of 4. Play Oklahoma here, minus 2.5. Tulsa and Temple College football pick Saturday. All right, Tulsa sits at 2-4, a 49-7 home defeat to Army. The Golden Hurricane put up 268 yards, 159 rushing for 3.8 yards a carry. On defense, they gave up 381 yards to the Black Knights, 321 rushing for 8 yards a carry. Kirk Francis here, 16-22 passing for 84 yards. Temple fell to 1-5, a 29-20 road defeat to UConn. The Owls posted 270 yards, 134 rushing for 3.6 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 371 yards to the Huskies, 272 passing yards on 41 attempts. Evan Simon missed the game due to a shoulder injury. Forrest Brock here, 18-32 passing for 136 yards with a pick. Temple rushes for 2.9 yards a carry, but averages 6.6 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they allow 5.4 yards a carry with only 61% completion rate, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Tulsa runs for 4.5 yards a carry. They struggle with accuracy and efficiency in the passing game. They allow 3.9 yards a carry and poor in pass defense by allowing 297 yards with 9.3 yards per pass attempt. The Owls 4-0 to the spread at home, facing teams that allow 31 points or greater. Player will be on Temple, minus 2.5. Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan college football pick for Saturday. Central Michigan fell to 3-3 after a 27-25 home defeat to Ohio. The Chippewas posted 292 yards, 161 rushing for 4.1 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 424 yards to the Bobcats, 277 rushing for 7.5 yards a carry. Joe Labas is out for the season. Redshirt freshman Tyler Jefferson, 8 of 13 passing for 95 yards, and he rushed for 28 yards in the game. Eastern Michigan comes in at 4-2, a 38-14 home defeat to Miami, Ohio. Eagles put up 333 yards, 121 rushing for 2.9 yards a carry. Defensively, they surrendered 421 yards to the Redhawks with 222 passing yards on 13 attempts. Cole Snyder here, 27 of 42 passing for 211 yards with a pick. He rushed for 37 yards and a touchdown. Central Michigan rushes for 4.4 yards a carry and gets poor quarterback play with inaccuracy and 4.9 yards per pass attempt. Chippewas surrender 5.2 yards a carry, 7.8 yards per pass attempt. EMU struggles on the ground with 3.4 yards a carry. They do complete 65% of their passes with 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, the Eagles allow 3.8 yards a carry and poor in pass defense by allowing 67% completion rate for 9.2 yards per pass attempt. CMU 1-7 to the spread on the road against the conference. They have dropped all 3 road games, including a 52-16 defeat at FIU. Play here at Eastern Michigan and Eastern Michigan here at -2. Next up here, Ohio and Miami, Ohio college football pick Saturday. Ohio improved to 4-2, a 27-25 road win to Central Michigan. The Bobcats gained 424 yards, 277 rushing for 7.5 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Chippewas to 292 yards, 131 passing on 22 attempts. Parker Navarro, 13 of 22 passing for 147 yards with a touchdown. He rushed for 176 yards and a touchdown in the game. Miami, Ohio 2-4 after a 38-14 road win at Eastern Michigan. The Redhawks put up 421 yards, 199 rushing for 6.4 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 332 yards to the Eagles, 211 passing on 42 attempts. Brett Gabbert here, 10 of 13 passes for 222 yards with 4 touchdowns. While good offensive team, they rushed for 205 yards a game, 5.2 yards a carry. They are efficient in the passing game, 7.6 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they stop the run and allow 6.9 yards per pass attempt. Miami, Ohio rushes for 3.7 yards a carry and inaccurate at quarterback play this season with 56% completion rate. Defensively, the Redhawks allow 4.6 yards per rush, 6.3 yards per pass attempt. Miami, Ohio lost players to graduation and the transfer portal and really feeling that pain. They have failed to cover 4 of 6. Play here will be on Ohio plus 3.5. Western Michigan and Buffalo college football pick Saturday. Western Michigan now 3-3 after a 34-24 home win to Akron. The Broncos put up 387 yards, 196 rushing for 5 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 501 yards to the Zips, 413 passing on 38 attempts. Hayden Wolf here at 17 of 25 passing for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Buffalo now 4-2 after a 30-15 home win to Toledo. The Bulls gained 357 yards, 230 rushing for 4.4 yards a carry. Defensively, they surrendered 418 yards to the Rockets with 1.9 yards per rush. CJ Agbana, 11 of 20 passing for 127 yards and a touchdown. Western Michigan is a good offensive team. They rush for 5 yards a carry plus complete 67% of their passes for 8 yards per attempt. On defense, they surrender 4.4 yards per carry, 9 yards per pass attempt. Buffalo has struggled offensively with 3.6 yards a carry and inefficient and inaccurate play at the quarterback position. Defensively, the Bulls allow 3.9 yards a carry with 6.1 yards per pass attempt. WMU is 7-2 to the spread against the MAC on the road. Buffalo 6-8 to the spread at home. Play here will be Western Michigan here -1. All right, next up we have Texas State and Old Dominion college football pick Saturday. Texas State now 4-2 after a 41-9 home win to Arkansas State. The Bobcats gained 591 yards, 271 rushing for 8.2 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 384 yards. The Red Wolves, 171 rushing for 5.2 yards a carry. Jordan McLeod here, 24-29 passing for 320 yards with 4 touchdowns. He rushed for 29 yards and a touchdown. Now, Old Dominion 2-4, a 21-14 road win at Georgia State. The Monarchs put up 343 yards, 202 rushing for 4.5 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 317 yards to the Panthers, 57 rushing for 2 yards per rush. Grant Wilson missed the game due to injury and is questionable here. Colton Joseph connected on 14-23 passes for 141 yards with a touchdown and pick. He rushed for 98 yards in the game. ODU runs for 4.5 yards a carry. They're poor in the passing game with inaccurate and inefficient play. Defensively, they allow 4.6 yards per rush, 7.2 yards per pass attempt. Bobcats, good offensive team. They run for over 5 yards a carry, complete 71% of their passes for 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Their defense holds opponents to 3.4 yards a carry with only 55% completions. Old Dominion 5-0 to the under at home against winning teams. The Bobcats defense has been strong in their 2 conference games, giving up an average of 13 points per game. Player will be Texas State and Old Dominion under 62. All right, next up, Charlotte and Navy college football pick. Action Saturday. Charlotte now 3-3, a 55-24 home in East Carolina. The 49ers produced 517 yards, 311 rushing for 6 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Pirates to 343 yards, 195 passing on 37 attempts. Max Brown missed his 4th straight game and is questionable here. Sean Purdy, 13-22 passing for 206 yards and a rushing touchdown. Navy now 5-0, a 34-7 road win at Air Force. The midshipmen gained 463 yards, 329 rushing for 6.7 yards a carry. Defensively, they held the Falcons to 273 yards, 158 rushing for 3.3 yards a carry. Blake Horvath, 9 of 15 passing for 134 yards. He rushed for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Charlotte's rushing for 3.6 yards a carry. They complete 58% of their passes with 7.3 yards per pass attempt. The 49ers defense poor, allowing 5.3 yards per rush with 253 passing yards for 8.2 yards per pass attempt. Navy, good offensive team as they average 6.4 yards per carry on the ground and pass for 170 yards with 12.5 yards per pass attempt. Navy's defense allows 4.3 yards per rush but 7.3 yards per pass attempt. The midshipman offense can be outstanding and can exploit a bad Charlotte defense. The 49ers 10-5 the over on the road. Navy 7-2 the over at home against the conference. Play here will be Charlotte and Navy over 54.5. Alabama and Tennessee college football pick Saturday. Alabama now 5-1 after their 27-25 home win to South Carolina. The Crimson Tide put up 313 yards, 104 rushing for 2.7 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 374 yards to the Gamecocks, 242 passing on 32 attempts. Jalen Monroe here, 16-23 passing for 209 yards with a touchdown and 2 picks. He rushed for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tennessee now 5-1, a 23-17 home win to Florida. The Volunteers posted 309 yards, 143 rushing for 3.3 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 361 yards to the Gators with 138 rushing for 3.5 yards a carry. Nico Iamaleava, 16-26 passing for 169 yards and a pick. Alabama puts up great offensive numbers, 5 yards per rush, 72% completion rate, 10.8 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they limit foes to 3.3 yards a carry, 6.1 yards per pass attempt. Tennessee rushing for 246 yards a game, 5.4 yards a carry, averaging 8.5 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, the Volunteers limit opponents to 2.2 yards a carry, 6.5 yards per pass attempt. Alabama against the SEC, giving up 65% completions over 9 yards per pass attempt and 311 passing yards in 3 games. Alabama 5-7 to the spread as a road favorite. Tennessee 12-5 to the spread at home. Play here will be on Tennessee plus the 3. All right, Notre Dame and Georgia Tech college football pick Saturday. Game played in neutral site in Atlanta. Notre Dame 5-1 after their 49-7 home win to Stanford. Fighting Irish put up 473 yards, 229 rushing for 5.9 yards a carry. Defensively, they held the Cardinals to 200 yards, 87 passing on 18 attempts. Riley Leonard here, 16-22 passing for 229 yards with 3 touchdowns. He did rush for a touchdown in the game. Georgia Tech sits at 5-2, a 41-34 road win at North Carolina. The Yellow Jackets gained 505 yards, 371 rushing for 7.6 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 417 yards to the Tar Heels, 201 rushing yards for 5.9 yards a carry. Haynes King here, 11-22 passing, 127 yards. He rushed for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. King is questionable with an injury. Backup Zach Pyron threw 1 pass in relief. He's a redshirt junior who saw significant action in his freshman season. Injury to King a concern here. Pyron was turnover prone in the past. Notre Dame rushing for 6.2 yards a carry. Downfield passing somewhat lacking here with 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, the Fighting Irish holds opponents at 3.6 yards per carry on the ground. Just 48% completions for 5.3 yards per pass attempt. Georgia Tech rushing for 5.5 yards a carry. Now, the passing game is very efficient here with this Yellow Jacket team. 71% completions, 8.3 yards per pass attempt. On defense, holding foes a 63% completion rate, 7.5 yards per pass attempt. Notre Dame here, 8-1 the over at home. 8-0 the over after a home game. Remember, this is a fast track. It's an NFL team in Atlanta. Georgia Tech has allowed 31 points or greater here against North Carolina, Louisville, and Syracuse. Play here will be on Notre Dame and Georgia Tech to go over 49. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for my best bets, my premium plays, click the link in the description. That'll take you to my page at Tony'sPicks.com. If you like our work here, give us a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate that. I'm Tony T. We will talk with you later.